Welcome back. All right, so career video. Today I've picked Bill Guerin. Now, Bill Guerin, there's a few reasons. First off, I've talked about Scott Stevens. I've talked about Scott Niedermayer. I want to talk about Bill Guerin and continue this sort of Devils thing that I've been doing. And with Bill Guerin, it is noteworthy because he is currently embroiled in a battle with Kirill Kaprizov regarding his contract with the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota wants to sign him for longer than he wants to sign for. There's been debate about how much money he's demanding versus how much they're offering. But it's odd because Bill Guerin is a guy who knew what he wanted as a player and did what he had to get it. So he's drafted 5th overall in 1989. Highly thought of player before he's drafted. And in 91-92 he makes his debut, plays 5 games with the Devils, 1 assist. In the playoffs, 6 games played and he had 3 goals. So his first NHL goals were in the playoffs. 92-93 in his first full regular season in the NHL, 65 games played, 14 goals, 20 assists, 34 points. The Devils known for slowly bringing guys in, right? 5 games in the playoffs, 1 goal, 1 assist. 93-94, we start to see the offense that Bill Guerin's capable of. 81 games, 25 goals, 19 assists, 44 points. Nice long playoff run by the Devils that year as they get to the conference final. 17 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. So the offense in the playoffs is less than you might want. However, again, the Devils slowly bringing Guerin along. 94-95, lockout shortened season, 48 games played, 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points. But in the playoffs, 20 games played, 3 goals, 8 assists, and his first Stanley Cup ring of what would be 2 Stanley Cup rings. So things are going pretty well, right? 95-96, his totals take a jump. The Devils take a step back. They miss the playoffs. He ends up with 80 games played, 23 goals, 30 assists, 53 points. 96-97, another very good season for him personally. 82 games, 29 goals, right on the verge of 30, 18 assists, 47 points. And in the playoffs, 8 games played, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. So Bill Guerin wants to get paid. Been in the league a while, wants to get paid. He held out on the New Jersey Devils until November 22nd. Lou Lamoriello may not have liked how those negotiations went. He plays 19 games for New Jersey, 5 goals and 5 assists, 10 points, ends up being traded. He was traded to the Edmonton Oilers with Valeri Zelepukin, one of the best names in the game. Might have to do a video on him at some point, in exchange for Jason Arnott, who I did a video on recently, as well as Brian Muir. So this is a trade that it honestly helps Guerin. However, he's out of New Jersey after his contract holdout. 40 games played, 13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points after arriving in Edmonton. He plays 12 playoff games for them, 7 goals, 1 assist, 8 points in those playoff games. So Guerin looks pretty good. 98-99, 80 games played, his first 30-goal season. He scores an even 30 to go with 34 assists, 64 points, and in the playoffs, 3 games, just the 2 assists. 99-2000, he plays 70 games that year, 24 goals, 22 assists, 46 points. 5 games played in the playoffs, 3 goals, 2 assists. So why did he miss the first 12 games of the season? He missed the first 12 games of the season holding out on the Oilers. And again, you'll see that his totals come down a little bit. 18 less points and 10 less games played. And Bill Guerin, when he was talking about Kaprizov, said he held out twice in his career and it didn't help him either time he did it. Meaning that it was hard for him each time that he held out to get into shape, get caught up, and play at the top of his game. 2000-2001, he plays 21 games for the Oilers, 12 goals and 10 assists for 22 points, and he finds himself being traded. He is traded for a 2001 first, which became Ales Hemsky, a second, as well as Anson Carter. So this was a trade that worked out pretty well for both teams, because in the remainder of that season, in 64 games played for the Bruins, so he played a total of 85 games, 28 goals, which took him to an even 40, which was 10th in the NHL that year, 35 assists, 63 points. So he had 85 points in 85 games. And he does make his first appearance in an All-Star game as a Boston Bruin. And it looked like maybe he should be in Boston for a while. In his contract year, 2001-2002, 78 games, 41 goals, which was second in the NHL that year, 25 assists, 66 points. In the playoffs, 6 games played, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. And for the one time this happened in his career, he's a second-team All-Star. So everything's looking up for Bill Guerin. And this is where, to me, I was confused. Bill Guerin wanted big money and big term to the point where Boston was out. So on July 3rd of that summer, he signs with the Dallas Stars. So he goes to Dallas, which again is a fan of Boston and Dallas. I was like, oh, okay. In 64 games with Dallas that first year, 25 goals, 25 assists, 50 points. He is held without a point in 4 playoff games. He does play in the All-Star game that year. But with this big contract that he signed in Dallas, the expectations have gone up. So in 2003-2004, the last year before we had a salary cap, 82 games played, 34 goals, which was 9th in the NHL, 35 assists for 69 points. In the playoffs, he adds 1 assist in 5 games. So in 9 playoff games for Dallas, 1 assist, which is less than they would have wanted. So after the 04-05 season is set aside due to trying to get that salary cap, he doesn't play again until 05-06 for Dallas, where in 70 games he records a very disappointing 13 goals, 27 assists, 40 points. 5 games played in the playoffs, 3 goals, 1 assist. Dallas is not happy with the production from Bill Guerin, and so they bought him out. They bought out that last year of his contract. They said, no, we're going to go ahead and move on. So he gets the buyout from Dallas. On July 3rd of that summer, he signs as a free agent with St. Louis. I mean, he's a proven goal scorer, so he's not going to stay a free agent for long. In 61 games for St. Louis, plays 28 goals, or gets 28 goals, 19 assists, 47 points. On February 27th of that year, he's traded for a 2007 first, which became David Perron. Jay Barabal and Ville Nieminen. There's a name from the past for you. So he is traded to San Jose in a deal that St. Louis looks back on now and says, so that was good. And as a rental for San Jose, 16 games, 8 goals, 1 assist, 9 points. So he ends up with 36 goals between St. Louis and San Jose, which was near the top in terms of goals in a season in his career. But in the playoffs, he just adds the 2 assists in 9 games. So that's a rental for San Jose that doesn't work out. Which for San Jose, they've never won a Stanley Cup, so their rentals basically have been a matter of that. But in this case, trading the draft pick that became David Perron, nobody knew that White was going to Vancouver. Anyways, so he becomes a free agent. And on July 5th, he signs as an unrestricted free agent with the New York Islanders. And he was named the Islanders captain as well. So Bill Guerin, captain and all that, 81 games played that first year with the Islanders. 23 goals, 21 assists, 44 points. So the scoring is down. Still a useful veteran, though. In his second year with the Islanders, 61 games, 16 goals, 20 assists, 36 points. But he's traded. March 4th, he was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a 2009 third-round pick. So 2008-2009 plays 17 games after that trade for Pittsburgh. 5 goals, 7 assists. And then in the playoffs, 24 games, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. All of the playoff disappointment is erased. He wins the Stanley Cup with Pittsburgh. And then Pittsburgh talked him into coming back the next season. He was debating about whether or not to call it quits after winning that Stanley Cup in 2009, because that's the best way to go out, right? But they did talk him into coming back. So in 78 games in his final season, which was 2009-2010, 21 goals, 24 assists, 45 points. This is noteworthy because he became the first player in NHL history to have a 20-goal season for 7 different teams. In the playoffs that year, 11 games played, 4 goals, 5 assists. Pittsburgh would not get back to the Stanley Cup again, and Bill Guerin would retire. Also worthy of note, Bill Guerin, not shy about getting penalties. His 1,660 penalty minutes is 98th on the all-time list. So he ends up playing 1,263 games, which is 81st on the all-time list of games played. 429 goals, which is 76th on the all-time goals list. 427 assists for 856 points. He retires with more goals than assists. In the playoffs, 140 games played, 39 goals, 35 assists, 74 points. The interesting thing with Guerin is that this holdout gets him traded out of New Jersey, right? This holdout here hurt his season with Edmonton, and maybe that contract is eventually why they traded him out to the Boston Bruins. Because for Edmonton, they were always looking at cost cutting during that era. They would sign guys if they could, but in the end, if they had to save money, they saved money. So Bill Guerin probably played for more teams during this career than he would if he'd played now. But the interesting thing is Bill Guerin, now the general manager of the Minnesota Wild, deals with contracts and holdouts and all that. You would think anyways, that since he's held out twice and he's had these, fights with GMs over how much money he thinks he should make, as a general manager, he should be speaking the same language as a Kirill Kaprizov, right? He should be, you would think anyways, more along the lines of being able to get this done and getting contracts signed. It'll be fascinating to see how things work out with Guerin as a general manager, and what's going to happen when eventually I do a video on Bill Guerin's career as a general manager. As a player, he went through a lot of teams, but he scored everywhere he went. He was a goal scorer and eventually became a captain as well. But yeah, Guerin is an interesting case study because he's a general manager now, and what kind of a general manager he is as opposed to how he was as a player. And it feels like Bill Guerin, the GM, might have had a hard time dealing with Bill Guerin, the player, and getting him signed to a contract as well. But hey, we'll see how it turns out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.